Hello, it's 9 p.m. Welcome to this weather update as well as Hurricane Zeta update. And of course, we're going to start with Hurricane Zeta. So, Hurricane Zeta is battering southeastern Louisiana and southern Mississippi with life threatening storm surge, high winds, and heavy rain. As of 7 p.m., its location is 30.2 north, 89.9 west, about 10 miles southwest of Slidell, Louisiana. Maximum sustained winds 110 miles an hour, and the present movement is north-northeast at 25 miles an hour. So it's really moving along. Minimum central pressure 972 millibars or 28.71 inches. You notice it has weakened, but not all that much. The hurricane force winds extend out to 35 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend out up to 150 miles from the center. Shell Beach recently reported sustained winds of 81 miles an hour with a gust to 101. So, and we've already seen the cone already, so we're not going to look at that, but I do want to look at the satellite. This is the latest satellite loop here. You can see it well inland here, now just racing into Mississippi now. So it's already leaving Louisiana and is racing into Mississippi. That's the fortunate thing, is the storm is moving along, so I don't think the flooding is going to be as severe as it could have been because of that, at least from what I'm hearing. I'm not hearing any reports of flooding. It's mainly just wind damage and power outages and that kind of thing. You can see this thing racing northeastward. You can still see, though, the structure's still there. It's still very much a hurricane. And looking at the power outage situation, we look at Louisiana. The number is now up to 446,619. And a lot of these counties in the southern part here have near complete outages. There may be a few pockets of power here and there. There's some confusion as to whether New Orleans has power. The city itself, the center, might have power. But there are a lot of power outages here, and those are going to start moving into Mississippi as well. So if we look at Mississippi, right, they're only at 48,000. Actually, no, it went up to 82,000. So these numbers start going up quite a bit. You can see the red on the map. These are going to cause a lot of power outages in the area. Again, with such strong winds, you're going to have significant damage to the power system. Here's the radar. Let's move this along here. I don't know why AccuWeather changed their radar. Now you can't get like a regular loop. It's got to have it shows you basically, this is the loop right here, and you can see there is the radar, and you can see the backside of the storm is dry. All the rain and the strongest winds are on the north to northeast side. On the right side of the storm. So as it pulls away, it probably won't be as bad the back side. It's all on the front side. But this is quickly moving into Mississippi and affect Alabama. This thing's really moving along quite quickly, as you can see here, quite quickly. And again, this is what it looks like on the satellite here. You can see it just moving along. We'll look at another satellite here. Let's go look at another satellite. So I'll show you what's going on here. Let's go look at the Gulf. So you see how quick this thing is moving. It's really moving along. You can see still a very intact structure. We'll look at the CONUS view here, so you get to see how big this thing is. So this is the satellite CONUS view, and again, you see. Look at how big this system is. It's starting to expand outward, and you can see here's that stalled front, which has been stalled just to our south all day long. You can see that moisture flowing northward, and you can see a lot of cloud cover across parts of the country, except in the southwest and the west. But other than that, a lot of cloud cover. And I'm going to also talk about that when it comes to the way it's affecting things with coronavirus, because I think it's making the numbers go up all these cloudy days. So it looks like a gust to 73 at Shell Beach, a gust to 71 at Kessler Air Force Base. Kessler Air Force Base has a south-southeast wind at 52, gusting to 71. But you can see they're in the backside of it now in New Orleans. So the strongest winds are on this side of the storm. And this is where they're getting another strong wind, 61 mile an hour at Moss Point, Trent Lott International Airport. South-southeast at 37, gusting to 61. So, and you'll see that there's some tornado warnings in here too. So, could be a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warnings, especially as this thing starts to interact with the land. You often see that from time to time. And you throw in the dew point, you can see that tropical moisture also involved here. Of course, plenty of humidity as well. So we're going to go look at our weather now. And you'll also notice the whole parade of tropical storm, well, I don't know, flood advisories, uh, severe thunderstorm watches, a whole bunch of things here that are going on. If we look at the legend here, you will see here we've got let's see that reddish color. We got the hurricane warning. Obviously, it's the pink. Uh, but you also have this color here. I'm not sure what that is. Um, our tropical storm warning, I guess. So the tropical storm warning actually goes all the way up over to there. Really? Let's see. Tropical storm warning. Yes. Wow. That is something to see. Tropical storm warning is going all the way up into West Virginia. That's pretty impressive. That's because this thing is moving so fast. It's not going to have enough of a chance to weaken. Um, wow. So that's quite impressive. It's going to parts of the Carolinas, and then after that, we've got the flash flood advisories in effect, and high wind warnings in effect. So, and yeah, flood watch is in effect. So that's quite impressive to see that extend that far north, tropical storm warning. But are you sure about that? Let's see. Now, yeah, that's tropical storm warning. So that's a tropical storm warning going all the way. I had to do a double take when I saw that because that's pretty far inland there. That's pretty far inland. So let's look at our current conditions across our area right now. It's kind of damp out there. I thought we were going to get into some drier air, but we never did. It was just kind of damp and dreary, cloudy, with some drizzle around earlier. You can see the dry air just to our north. I don't know if that's going to wind up really building in on us or not. It probably won't. So let's go to the models here. All right, there is Zeta again. Let's go to the. What did I do with the satellite? Did I take it away? Hang on, I think I know what I did. Yeah, all right, I want to get back to tropical tidbits. Okay. So we're going to talk about what's going to happen now. Where do we go from here? You can see the two distinct systems. There's Zeta, and there is, we're looking again at the GFS. All right, so, and I'm not going to focus too much on the long range. We're just going to talk about the next couple of days into this weekend as we track the remnants of Zeta. So these are the remnants of Zeta. You'll see it really remains tightly wound up even as it moves northeast in this, and we're going to get into some wind too, I think. Look at this. It actually stays fairly strong. Look at it. This is what it looks like tomorrow evening around 8 o'clock. And you'll see it's just south of our area. It's a pretty round up low. So we were getting a little more wind than we bargained for from this because it's just moving so fast. It's not going to have a chance to weaken as much as you would think. And it might be getting some energy from the jet. And then that moves out. And then we have that second piece of energy. There's the second piece of energy come in. Form the next low, and it's just going to keep us in the chance precipitation right through, probably early Friday afternoon, and then hopefully it tapers off by Friday afternoon, and then that high builds in and brings us a fair weather for the weekend. But this is quite wound up here. So we're going to go look at some of the higher resolution models. Let's go. Let me move this into the region here so we'll track this as it approaches our area. And again, this is the GFS here that we're looking at, the 18Z GFS. So clearly see, look at that. And there's a belt of heavy rain. Looks like it goes over Jersey. But that is quite heavy there. And then there's that second area of rain that forms. So by the time all said and done, the GFS is probably going to give us a lot of rain. So total accumulated precip. Yeah, some areas of Jersey got over 2 inches, maybe 3 inches. For us, more like 1 to 2 inches, probably, or more like 1.5 to 2 inches. It all depends on where that belt of heavy rain sets up, obviously. Going back to this, we're going to look at the NAM, 12 kilometer, 18Z. See, nice, we can get this to load. So see, rain moves in tomorrow. We're dealing with it throughout the day, heavy at times. You can see there's that center. It still remains relatively well defined, and it goes just to our south. And again, look at how tight those isobars are. That's going to mean some wind around here. Um, so wind-driven rain, real nasty. It moves out. We get a little bit of a break, and then the second batch comes in Friday morning, and there could be, like I said, a little snow. I mean, it's not really not going to amount to much, even upstate probably. But you might see a couple of snowflakes, and then by 2 o'clock it should be done. We should be done with it on Friday. But that's still going to be quite a bit of rain. So let me look at the NAM, total rainfall on the NAM. And the NAM is a little more north of with that 2-inch rainfall. I think there's a good bet we're going to see between 2 and 3 inches across many areas of Long Island. And this might put us in the book for the wettest October on record. I'm not sure, but it's definitely going to give us a lot of rain. Unfortunately, it's not going to fall in Maine particularly, because that's where it's been dry. Unfortunately, that's not where the rain is going to occur. It's going to occur mainly in our area. I'm not going to bother the HRR. It really doesn't go far enough out. But we will look at the lower dynamics with the wind now. So we'll go ahead and look at that because I'm concerned about that. So move this back again. So start off with not too much wind, and then the winds kind of ramp up as we get toward the after 5-6 o'clock, and you'll see here sustained winds in the green. So we're going to have sustained winds of 20 miles an hour or more. Gusts maybe 40 to 50. I'm thinking a wind advisor or even a high wind warning might be necessary. And also, these strong winds might help to cause some coastal flooding, of course. And yeah, that's some pretty intense wind right there offshore there. That's the NAM, and like I said, that's pretty impressive right there with that wind. And again, we're going to be dealing with that tomorrow night into Friday morning with the wind. The second low probably won't generate as much wind, but it'll still generate some wind. So let's go to the GFS. Oh boy, this doesn't look great either. So this is the GFS again, and you can see it actually gets over the water, and it could, waters are above normal, so it could start regaining strength again. And again, you're going to see sustained winds quite strong. So I would say there could be some scattered power outages and tree damage and stuff like that with such winds. And again, look at offshore. Look at how strong the winds are. You could have tropical storm conditions offshore from this. So this is quite strong. That moves on out. And then we have that second low that won't really generate as much wind. So it's going to be quite a storm tomorrow night. It's going to be fast moving, but it's going to be quite a storm, I think. This storm is moving so fast, and it's just amazing how it's just holding on to its strength because of that. And of course it didn't intensify just as I had expected that it would. It would become landfall as a category 2, 110 miles an hour, and it's moving fast. So it's not going to have a chance to weaken that much considering it's moving so fast. So this is something to definitely be concerned about regards to the wind. So we will look at the temperatures next to show you what I mean with the temperatures now. So you can see that warm air off to the south, and it stays there tomorrow. I don't think we see it. Going to stay cool, but cool and rainy, and then the cold air really comes in Friday. And except behind that secondary low, we're going to have a hard time even reaching 40, perhaps. Further south you go, maybe a little more likely to get to the mid-40s. And then Saturday, we rebound into the mid to upper 40s, and then Sunday we rebound even more. And with that, you could see where that front is lined up. This is the dew point as well. You can sort of see where that front is lined up well to the south. But it does, there's the core of it right there. So around that core, you still have a lot of humidity there. So that's going to help fuel this system. And of course, I'll keep you updated throughout this storm. It's going to be busy here. Let's go to the weather. Sky conditions, obviously plenty of clouds. This isn't again Saturday. We should have a nice clear day, hopefully, and then that'll be our next chance to finally see the sun, because we haven't seen much sun. And I have a theory. I just put up some posts on this on my channel here about the numbers rising, the coronavirus numbers rising, and in Nassau they're up to 1.96 infection rate and 1.93 in Suffolk, and it's a concern. Obviously, it's happening all across the country. But I think that ignorance, but it's also the weather. I think is playing a role. You do have ignorance going on, obviously, but I do think the weather is playing a role. With the lack of sun, a lot of clouds around. You're seeing less hours of daylight as we head toward the winter, and also more clouds around lately, and that is a lack of vitamin D, which could be affecting people's immune system. And then you have all the Trump rallies going on, which I think have been spreading a lot of the disease around. All those gatherings, like what you saw in Belmore, that are helping to spread the disease around and causing this. I really hope that people take wearing the mask seriously, and we don't want to go back to another shutdown again. It would cripple us. But that all depends on everybody behaving themselves and doing things to stop the spread of this. But I think that the weather has possibly played a role in making the virus worse as well. With all this gloomy weather, it's definitely runs people down, and that's why I'm talking about it in this weather update. So here's tomorrow. We've got the European model here, looking at the remnants of, and let me just follow this along here so you get an idea. We're going to start over here, and you can follow this along here. So there is Zeta. So you can follow the remnants of Zeta as they move northeastward. So you can see it's keeping a lot of its wind field intact. But look at what happens when it gets out over the water again. It starts intensifying. So this is tomorrow at 10 p.m. And you could see wind gusts 44 miles an hour. So we could get some wind gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour possible. This is, again, the European model. Over Long Island, and then offshore, there's even stronger winds. You have an LLJ that's got 67-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible. So this is something that, again, is going to have to be watched for the coastal areas, because you could see here, these winds are pretty impressive. These are wind gusts, and we go to this sustained wind. The sustained wind isn't too bad, but the gusts, and like I said, out in the open areas, South Shore, East End, you could have sustained winds up to 30 miles an hour. Hopefully not here, but the wind is definitely a concern, and I'm very concerned about it for the coastal areas as well, because this is the European model, and you could see the winds that we're going to see tomorrow night. And I think a wind advisor, a high wind warning, or might be needed, perhaps. Definitely gale warning for the offshore, and the winds kind of stay up. The European seems to want to have more wind around on Friday. But if we flip this over to the GFS, you'll see it's a different picture. So apparently the European wants to slow the system down, and maybe it'll have it combined with the other system offshore, whereas the GFS doesn't do that. Let's look at the GFS for tomorrow. This is the GFS, and you'll see here, these are the wind gusts again. And again, could be gusts up there. So this is going to have to be watched. And you'll see this will have to be watched. And we may need some high wind warnings or wind advisories in effect for tomorrow night. I would not be surprised. I would totally expect that they would be. So now let's go to the effects on this ocean here, and see what effects there will be. Oh, yeah. So this is tomorrow night, and you'll see here, in the core of the storm offshore, you could have waves up to 15 feet off our south shore. Doesn't look too bad, but you see that gets closer as we head into the overnight hours there. And like I said, I'm concerned about some flooding in these areas as the storm moves through. And again, the waves actually, it gets even worse as we get to Friday morning. We're going to have a swell, 8-foot swell there offshore, which again could cause some flooding along the coast. And again, for some reason, the Euro is slower with getting that wind out of here, for whatever reason it is. So I actually want to go back to Tropical Tidbits site if we can, and look at the Euro on the upper air. I guess we'll go to the upper air and we'll see exactly why there seems to be some kind of difference there. So let me go to the European and we'll look at the upper air and see what's going on, because the Euro seems to have a different analysis of the whole thing. So there's Zeta, there's the other trough that's the main. It seems like it wants the Euro wants to absorb Zeta into that trough more. whereas the GFS does not want to do that. This is the GFS. Yeah, GFS kind of keeps it a little separate. You can see that. Whereas the GFS has the two separate systems, which I think is more of a possibility at this point. But again, this is this is Zeta. We are at the last letter of the Greek alphabet here when it comes to these tropical systems. So it's very concerning. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and look at this information from Zeta again. Latest satellite loop before I wrap this up. But this is a substantial weather event that's occurring, and it's not done yet. Even though it's weakening and it's over land, it's moving fast. It's got plenty of energy, and it takes time for it to, slow down. So this is going to be affecting a lot of areas with hurricane conditions and then tropical storm conditions, flash flooding, high winds, power outages are going to be an impact across many parts of the country, and it's only going to get worse with this. With the power outage map, you're going to see more states start lighting up here on this map. So I'll keep you posted on all this as we deal with yet another natural disaster. Take care and have a good night.